pay attention to every step and you're going to notice the results are going to work. Okay, so just a reminder, when you're checking, pulling it out of the oven, just feel the center. It should bounce back. You will see a few imprints on there and that's okay, but when you feel it, it shouldn't you shouldn't feel like your hand's just going inside, because then it's not cooked enough. The best indicator when you bake sponge is usually time. Once you've established how much time it takes, it's relatively pretty straightforward from it. Okay? Sorry. Getting your eggs in there, your gluten, both of those haven't yet started their action of coagulating and solidifying. Okay? So this is the best time. It's going to be really flexible, best time for you to roll it. But unfortunately, the way our class is designed, right, if you try and rush it in the next hour and a half, it's just not enough. Okay? So that's why we move it towards the morning. And it's good because sometimes you would have to do that in industry too. You would have to move it to the next day. So one of the tricks that I'm going to show you now is what you do to make sure it's still as good as what it was when we put together this time. Okay? So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take some simple syrup. The reason why your sponge will break or crack is basically because your sponge is dry overnight, right? So if you can add some moisture into it, it's going to help retain that flexibility. So that's what we are going to do. I've got some simple syrup here already done, and you can just use out of that, so you don't need to make your own. Did you talk a little bit about simple syrup in any of the previous classes? You know the different kinds of syrups? There's simple, what else is there?
Heavy.
Heavy.
Favorite.
And what else?
Favorite syrup.
Flavored, yeah. Have you heard of light syrup? Have you heard of light syrup, kind of maybe?
Yeah. We didn't talk
What's the
about
difference?
concentration of sugar.
Yeah, the amount of sugar in there, right? So the simple syrup, the recipe says, is just equal part of water and sugar. Right? Heavy syrup has more sugar, less water. Light syrup has more water, less sugar. Usually for cakes, for glazing, for decorating, you find yourself using simple syrup. If some desserts, right, which if some syrups. Hi.
Later for you.
Oh, thank you. What do I get?
What's that?
Oh, thank you so much.
You're awesome.
Aiden's good?
Yeah, you're amazing. Take care.
Thanks. For some desserts, right, you might need a heavier syrup because it just helps preserve that dessert in there. A classic example is a baba, if you've heard of it. It's like a yeast dough that's dipped in heavy syrup. Another example, it's an Indian sweet called gulab jamun. Have you heard of it? It's like a little round, deep fried dumpling kind of a thing, and it's like soaked in heavy syrup. Okay. A lighter version of the simple syrup is mainly used for canning. So when you open up a can of peaches, right, if you try the syrup in there, that's light syrup. So it doesn't have too much sugar, but just enough to preserve your fruit. Okay, so that's kind of how the syrups go. So we're going to take some of that. The thing to be careful about here is not to add too much. Because if you add too much, your sponge now becomes way too moist. It's going to be very sticky. Okay? So just a small amount, okay, is all we are.
Sorry, what is that again?
Just simple syrup.
Simple syrup, okay.
Yeah.
50-50?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Once you brush that on, give it a few moments. Right? It's going to seep in really fast because your sponge is freshly baked. The syrup's going to go in very quickly. If your sponge is cooled down, you will notice, or if it was kept to date, you will notice the syrup takes a while to get into the syrup. Okay? So once all that syrup's there, I'm just going to take some granulated sugar. The reason we're doing this is because if I try and roll this to do anything to it right now, it's going to stick to my parchment paper, and that's not what something like that. Okay? So we'll take a little bit of granulated sugar and just sprinkle the top. Again, don't overdo it. I'm not measuring the sugar, I'm just spreading it. The granulated sugar just forms a little barrier between your sponge and your sheet of parchment paper so that it just doesn't stick too bad. So, flip it around.
What do you need?
Okay, then take a sheet of parchment paper. On it, right, and the sprayed surface goes down, and you just place it on the plate. Okay. Now, in order to make sure that tomorrow when we try and roll this, it doesn't break, what we need to do is roll it today and leave it in that form for about an hour, maybe 2 hours. For us, it's going to be till the time that we leave. Okay? So grab a pair of knives, run it on the sides. Put that parchment paper on the inside. So the way we're going to roll this, I'm thinking we'll do something like this so you'll get 2 U-logs out of it. Right? So, lengthwise, just want to take it, and you want to roll. With the parchment paper on the inside, just roll. If you like, you can just put your name on it. Initials, whatever you choose, and then we grab one tray for your table. You can then just slide this on your sheet tray. We just leave it at room temperature. What this does is, as the steak is cooling down, as the egg protein in there and the gluten is hardening, it's going to harden to that structure. So tomorrow, when we try and roll it again, it's not going to break. It's not going to break. Okay? So this is a key step to do if you're going to be rolling or if you're going to be finishing your Swiss roll the next day. If you're going to be finishing off today, this step's not important because it's going to be perfect texture for you. Okay? Questions about it?